Jim Carroll, Ralph Baber, psychology takeaway. You need a dose of the real, life's absurd, we know the deal. Did you hear? Don't let it get you down. Turn that frown upside down, down, upside.
Okay, we're upside down again, Ralph.
We are. And today we're going to be doing something a little bit different than what we have done.
We're going to do some upside down psychology takeaway, right?
Right. We're going to stand on our heads and broadcast. No, actually, what we're going to do is give our viewers and listeners a short kind of introduction to a number of topics that are new but have not yet hit the major things in psychology. So,
Right.
so we're looking at things that
These are things that are not covered in your Psychology 100 textbook, right?
Yeah, and we know that they're important, and they're going to be more important over the next, say, 5 or 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not yet in the forefront.
Yep. I like that first one that you found.
The pratfall effect.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to be speaking at a conference this Friday, and I have my handout, wonderful handout here, and it's supposed to be on one page because I want it to be, just very professional looking. So I printed it and didn't press the right button, didn't press the do both sides button.
All right.
So now I have a page 1 and a page 2. Now,
Okay, so 2 pages
instead
rather
of
than one.
Yep. So I was going to, run another 50 copies, but I thought, gee, that's an ecological waste. And then I heard about the pratfall effect, and I'm just going to confess to my audience that I made an error. That you should have a 1 page, but now I end up with 2 pages.
Okay, so the pratfall effect, what it surprisingly does is everybody would think that, you have the old slapstick comedy where somebody steps on a banana peel and falls down. That's the pratfall.
That's the pratfall.
And you would say, okay, well, I give a handout that's 2 pages. It should be 1. Surprisingly, that increases trust. It doesn't decrease trust.
Yeah. Well, when I read about this, that's what I learned, that people are going to trust me more because I'm fallible, right?
Right.
Instead of the infallible Dr. Carroll.
Yeah, they're going to say this guy is human.
Aha. Little do they know.
Little do they know.
It's all AI, right? Okay. So that was a new one that I had not heard of before, but I'm going to put it into effect. What's another one that you found, Ralph?
Well, everybody thinks that when you hear somebody who's talking very fast and they're really trying to make a good point and they're just talking so fast that
They're really intelligent.
They're really intelligent. That turns out not to be true.
Okay.
If you talk and you occasionally pause and seem to collect your thoughts and then go on, that gives you more credibility than talking like an auctioneer.
Okay. Hey, there are a lot of people in our cohort here, other podcasters, who are masters at talking quickly, right?
Yeah. And sometimes people say, oh, he must be very smart. He
Or she
talks
must
very
be
quickly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But people who take, the deliberate pace and occasionally pause and seem to be collecting their thoughts are more trustworthy.
This would be different from the person who is deliberately slow.
Yes. So there is the difference between being turtle slow.
And being motor mouth.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, avoid turtle slow. Did you get that feeling like you wanted to kill me there?
No, but I was tempted to push your chair back away from the mic and say, Jim is excused for a few moments. So
Okay, going to timeout.
the other thing that I thought was really interesting was people who have a clear and well known to themselves sense of who they are more likely to behave ethically.
Now, why might that be?
Well, I think people who don't have a good self-concept tend to, how should we put it? They tend to go for moral disengagement.
Okay.
And moral disengagement means that for a variety of reasons, people say, well, I was just following orders, or everybody else is doing it, or whatever their rationale is for behaving
The way they did.
the way they did. And that's moral disengagement. You say, it's not my fault, you know?
Yeah. So you kind of put your morality over to one side when it's expedient.
Yeah.
Cheryl and I were watching a movie, or actually a PBS series last night about Edmund Hillary. Remember him? Mm-hmm. He was the first guy to get up to the top of Mount Everest. Well, in this particular episode, we have his brother, who was a conscientious objector in New Zealand during the Second World War, who went to prison because of his objection to the war, an objection to killing. And lots of other people, I'm sure, objected to war and objected to killing, but they went out and, did their, quotes, duty. He did not. His ethical framework and his behavior and his self-concept all lined up. So this would be somebody who would not be morally disengaged, right?
No, he took the biblical injunction, "Thou shalt not kill,"
That's what he said.
to the extremes. Now, whether you want to see this as an excuse or not, what the original commandment was not "Thou shalt not kill." It was "Thou shalt not murder."
Right.
And so you could say, well, if I'm shooting at people who are shooting at me, I'm not murdering them. I'm trying to defend my country.
Yeah.
So, is that a poor self-concept or,
Yeah.
and
I don't
the
think
hair splitting there is so fine we shouldn't maybe get into it.
Yeah, I don't think we could say that would be a poor self-concept to go to war. But in George's case, I think that was the guy's name, his self-concept and his moral compass both aligned to
Not kill.
To push him in this particular behavioral pattern, which for him was horrific.
Yeah.
He spent 4 years in essentially prison that was as bad as any prison that he may have gone to, as a prisoner of war.
Yeah. Now, I guess, Jim, one of the things that we could say is that it's nice that people have a very clear self-concept. They know who they are, they know what their values are, and they're prepared to live with them and do what their values say. Now, I think one of the things that we maybe face in today's world is there are a lot of people who hit 25, which is supposedly the age about which our brain becomes pretty solidly fixed, and who say, I don't know who I am. I don't know,
Yeah.
what I should be doing. I'm still trying to find myself.
Yeah. And a lot of people today would say, okay, well, you got a few more years to find yourself. You know, work it out by the time you're 30. Well, as a matter of fact, there was a TED talk on 30 is the new 20.
Right.
And Meg, I can't remember her last name, argued that, in fact, that was not the case, that you had better start figuring stuff out, earlier. But it is perhaps difficult in our society to really figure out who you are when there are so many alternatives that you can be.
Yeah.
Or do, What are you, Ralph? Are you a woodworker? Are you a retired college prof? Are you a podcaster? Well, you're all of the above, right?
Right.
And my laundry list is similar. So, we take, I guess, the most salient. What are we now? I guess we're podcasters, right?
For this moment today. Now, here's an interesting thing. These kind of things we've talked about here are sort of the psychological concepts. But if we look at biology, what we find out is that in neuropharmacology, that testosterone, which we always think of as increasing aggression,
and what are we finding here now?
well, testosterone not only increases aggression, it does that, but it increases both your awareness of social rejection and inclusion.
Okay, so it increases your edginess, like I'm rejected or I'm included, that kind of thing. So it makes you.
Yeah. So I have, to go back to one of the popular war movies and TV series, Band of Brothers.
Okay.
I have a band of brothers, so I feel included.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But if I don't have a band of brothers, or one of the brothers says something nasty to me, I feel rejected. I'm sensitive to that.
Okay.
So
this is linked to testosterone.
yeah. And
So-
so it also means that if my former Band of Brothers guy says something to me which I feel rejected about because I'm more aggressive, which is also characteristic of testosterone, I might punch him right in the nose.
Okay.
So, aggression, rejection, inclusion, sensitivities to all of them.
Okay. Now, this is a chunk of research that, as we say in the literature, we need more data.
More research, yeah.
Because it doesn't make sense. Let me explain why. Which gender has testosterone? Both. Which gender has most testosterone?
Male.
Okay. Females have a little tiny bit, but the hormone is usually progesterone and estrogen. So we would think that this might apply to men, but it shouldn't apply to women. And yet, with women, we see the same, threat of rejection or desire for inclusion. So there's probably some other variables kicking in here.
Probably, yeah. Except the other thing is that we have examples of lots of people who have an abundance of testosterone who are not particularly aggressive.
Not edgy or not particularly inclusive either. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, the thing is, they're not. They have been socialized to control their aggression.
Mm-hmm.
So you can.
There you go. Environment can trump physiology.
Right.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay. One last one, or two last ones.
Okay.
Can we have two last ones?
Sure.
Okay. One I liked, and you and I have talked about this before, but other researchers are getting onto the track of it now, and that is brain plasticity. That
Yes.
is, after a person has a stroke and they can't do something with their body that they used to be able to do before, they can grow new neurons maybe in that area, or other parts of the brain will take over, kind of equal potentiality to, help them with the left side of their body or the right side of their body or their movements or whatever, right?
Right.
That's what we're finding.
Yeah. Now, the interesting thing about that, and it's going to be kind of something that a lot of our viewers and listeners may not have paid a lot of attention to. But the politician from Pennsylvania who is now criticizing the Democratic Party,
Okay.
whose name I'm blocking on,
Okay, it
right?
begins with an F. Feynman or Feinberg?
Um,
No?
no.
Okay.
Anyway, he had a stroke.
Yes?
And when he first came back, he was still a sitting member
Mm-hmm.
and he could barely speak.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's very articulate and is speaking very well.
Okay, so that would suggest some sort of compensation in the brain, right?
Yeah, so that's brain plasticity. So if you say to yourself, okay, I remember seeing that guy when he first came back, and boy, he was struggling just to say, I'm back and I can function. And now he's speaking well and articulately and, and it doesn't matter which side he's on or what he's saying. It's just to know how good he is at speaking anymore.
A victory for his brain. We should
Right.
applaud that, right?
Right.
Yeah, we see these kinds of one-off phenomenon, like Norman Cousins healing himself with humor, but sometimes it can be replicated and sometimes it can't be, and sometimes
Yeah.
there are these other variables. But there are two more here. I said two more, one more ago. Anyhow, the paradox of remote work.
Okay.
I don't have to go into work anymore. I don't have to battle traffic. I can, do my 40 hours from the home computer.
I can stay in my pajamas. Well, I put on a shirt and tie, but,
Yeah. And guess what? The 40-hour week becomes a what?
60-hour week or
Yeah.
an 80-hour week.
Yep.
And
I mean, you think that you're going to be able to relax and just, but now, instead of 9 to 5 with Dolly Parton, you're 24/7, right?
yeah, and, part of the problem with that is there are managers who say, I expect you to answer any email within 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So 5 o'clock, normally you would hang up your head and say, day's over, I'm going home.
Right.
But then at 5:10, you get a email and you say, oh, I've got to answer this right now.
Mm-hmm.
So your day tends to extend and extend and
Yeah.
extend. Now, the thing is, there are people who work from home and there are people who work in the office. The people who work in the office, we're finding out, some of them burn out for reasons, but the people who work at home burn out more often
Mm-hmm.
because
there's no away.
there's no way.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that's something that I think has to be really looked at within the industrial organizational psychology movement. But one that was interesting from a social psychology point of view was the idea of group think. And this goes into this, kind of working remotely as well. Remember the first research on groupthink? We were looking at things like, bad decisions that groups make with the space shuttle that blew up, and quotes, we should have known that the O-rings were brittle and probably would, fail. But the whole group wanted a launch, right? And
Yeah.
So the engineer that knew that there was a big probability that the thing would not go well shut up.
Yeah.
So because he went along with the wisdom of the group, which in lots of cases the group will do well, but in some cases the group doesn't do very well.
Yeah, and the problem is that we tend to know that if you put together a whole bunch of people in a room, the outlier, the person who is apt to say,
This won't work,
this won't work,
shuts up.
shuts up. And if they say this won't work, what they get is 40 eyes looking at them like, you're crazy. Why are you saying that?
Or you're a traitor to the cause.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so you say, okay, well, that makes sense. We have a group, and so I'm going to go along with the group.
Right. But now I'm working from home, and I don't have a group, and it's just me. Groupthink still exists, doesn't it?
Groupthink without a group.
Yep.
Now, we were talking before we started podcasting, and I said to Jim, the classic example of this is confirmation bias. So people look at things that they want to believe, and they look at all the evidence that they can get for what they want to believe.
Mm-hmm.
And people look at things that they want to disbelieve, and they look at all the evidence they can get for disbelief.
So they have made their own, quotes, group.
Yeah.
Right, that they
So if
wanna
I'm
fit
on the
into.
side of I want to believe X, and I find all the evidence, so I believe X, whether there's a group there who believes X or not.
Mm-hmm.
If I disbelieve X, I find all the evidence, and then there's a group there, whether it's there or not.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is, you can say to yourself, well, gee, the group is in my head.
Right.
And so I believe what's in my head.
Well, that could be scary in your case, Ralph.
It would, yes. And so the thing is, you say, well, I don't care. I don't have anybody in my head, which is even scarier.
We've looked at some interesting things here that are not currently in the Psychology 100 textbooks, but they might be. 50 years ago, the Stanford prison experiment wasn't there, and now it's standard fare.
Yeah.
The overcrowding experiments, like the rat universe, wasn't in the textbook, but now it is. So we'll have to look ahead in the next 20 years, Ralph, when you and I are sitting around rocking on our front porch and see what's in the Psych 100 text, because I think we're going to see some of this stuff.
Jim Carroll, Ralph Baber, psychology takeaway. You need a dose of the real. Life's absurd. We know the deal. Did you hear? Don't let it get you down. Turn that frown. Upside down, upside down, 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 upside.
Well, Ralph, that was not the extra. That was another intro. But I think we can use that to say, this is Jim.
And Ralph saying,
keep your stick on the ice, because we're all in this
together.
together.